The Grade 1 Kentucky Oaks, a mile and an eighth and a full field of 14. Can Malatat maintain her perfect record?
It's a quality field set for the Kentucky Derby on Saturday, and essential that you have accurate information, which you'll find right here.
And welcome to the first episode of More Ground to Cover. JD Fox alongside national horse trading analyst Aaron Vercruyze and the Peta Geek herself, Ren Carruthers. We have a fast and fun format here on this new show, and obviously it's Kentucky Derby week. We're going to have a Kentucky Derby and Oaks Flair, but we're going to be talking about action all throughout the card, and we're excited to present a new social media friendly video format. So I'm not even going to let you guys say things at this point. We're just going to move right into it. We're going to talk Kentucky Oaks, and quickly, Aaron, we've had a lot of time to take a look at this race. What are your thoughts on the Oaks?
Yeah, I thought this was a good field, well matched, and any one of a number of contenders can play a factor in the outcome of this race. Mile and an eighth, and we had a scratch earlier in the week, a pace factor, which hurts my chances on Crazy Beautiful. I love the way Jose Ortiz got along with her last time out for the first time aboard. Jose's going to stay. She's got a 3 furlong move. She's my pick from off the pace.
Ren, your thoughts on can anybody get to Malatat here?
I'm so boring. I'm eating the chalk. And, I think that this is the horse who's got everything going for her. She's the horse who's also got the storyline going for her. I mean, here you've got the daughter of Dreaming of Julia, who Todd Pletcher trained, Johnny Velasquez rode. I mean, that horse was a freak. Won the first 3 starts of her career by open length. She won the, Gulfstream Park Oaks by 21 3/4 lengths, went into the Kentucky Oaks. Unfortunately, fourth that day after a less than sharp start. But you're also in the 2013 edition of the Oaks against Princesses Silmar and Beholder, so no shame there. But yeah, it's a great story. This is a horse I think is just on the improve. I love that she was able to win in her first start off the bench, and she was able to close into a moderate pace anyway. I think she's going to be even stronger to fight today and getting even better. And again, it's got that fairy tale storyline going along with it.
How far back will she be is going to be my question. So I love the one Pauline's Pearl, and you look at the honest fractions that Ava's Grace, who has, as Aaron mentioned, scratched out of this race, but you look at comparing the Ashland to the Fantasy, the Ashland where Malatat is coming out of, and the Fantasy where Pauline's Pearl is. The half mile in the Ashland was 48-2. The half mile in the Fantasy was 46-4. I mean, there's a big difference there, and Pauline's Pearl was close to that pace and closed. So I really like Pauline's Pearl to get first run. I think Malatat will be coming on, but might be further behind than we've seen her in a race yet in her career.
Malatat's a morning line favorite, going to be completely an underlay in this race, and I thought a competitive event, not worth a bet. She's the filly to beat, but not the filly to bet. All right, guys, this week's long shot AV look, audio and visual, is going to go to Friday at Churchill Downs. Race number 9 is the 8 Bells, and there is a train load of speed signed on. So let's look toward the outside of the starting gate. This is actually a perfect draw for number 12, Carmel Swirl, double digits on the morning line. And what I really like is that wake-up call last time out. Even though the number wasn't fantastic, it's the way that she did it. And it's really going to help her out in this race, guys. If you look at Carmel Swirl's last start, when the first try with blinkers off, she had shown speed and faded and just kind of hung around at the finish in her recent starts with blinkers. She took the blinkers off, and boy, did she sit and settle nice early on, make a big, wide, sweeping move around the far turn to take over at the top of the stretch and simply draw clear as much the best in that race. So I know there wasn't much behind her, but I really like the way that she did it. That is a confidence-building win for her. And with all the speed signed on, I want a filly in the 8 Bells that can sit, relax, and make one big run. And I think that's the case with Carmel Swirl. Confidence win last time out off a maiden win. Bill Mott is going to go into the 8 Bells when she's eligible for entry-level allowance. So a lot to look forward to, a good price on the morning line as well. Carmel Swirl, the 12 in race number 9, Friday, the long shot AV play of Friday.
For this week's International Bite, we head to the Turf Classic and talk the Brazilian bred Ivar When people think of Ivar, they think of this race, the Shadwell Turf Mile, and that big outside sweeping move for Ivar's first North American Grade 1 victory. But I don't think Ivar necessarily has to be off the pace. We go to the Tourist Mile back at Kentucky Downs in September, and you'll see the 5-horse here is Ivar. And I've got a theory about this horse wanting to run better when drawn nearer inside the rail at the beginning of races. And it all kind of stems back to this horse's time down in Argentina. And we're going to next head to a race in Argentina, the Estrellas Juvenile. And you'll see out in the auxiliary gate in stall 11 is Ivar. Ivar is going to get off to a bit of a sluggish start here and is actually going to be out of the picture at the start of this race and is going to have to make a sweeping move to kind of come up on the outside and engage with the rest of the field. And that's going to start happening now here as we look at this. And eventually Ivar wins going away, but not a good start. Now, this is the Ivar that I think we're going to see on Saturday. Draws the 3 post here in an allowance event at Churchill back in June of last year. And you'll see contested lead, but is going to eventually here get an empty lead as they pass the wire for the first time. So you see Ivar out front, drawn inside, and on this day has no problems. Now we'll look at the fraction here, 24-1. So an honest quarter ran a 48-4 half mile and still has enough to finish this race on the front end and actually separates at the end. So will the real Ivar stand up on Saturday? I think so. And I think Ivar wins going wire to wire. Good luck in your gambling endeavors.
There is a lot of speed in the Grade 2 American Turf Stakes, and while this horse could potentially get cooked on the front end, especially having strategy dictated a bit with the inside draw, the number 1, Excellent Timing, could prove aptly named in 2 ways: working out a winning trip despite the draw with Rispoli, and by Chad Brown choosing now to move this Triple Crown nominated son of Not This Time to the grass. Excellent Timing, he's won 2 of 3 on the dirt, all sprints, on the front end and by open lengths. He took the Damon Runyon off the bench by 6 3/4 lengths in his first start for Chad. 3 horses have run back with the 3rd place It's Gravy running 3rd again against New York Stakes competition. But more interestingly, the 4th placed It's a Gamble switched back to turf and put up a 79 buyer running 2nd in the Woodhaven Stakes. But what about the pedigree for today's Mile the 16th grass contest? Well, I got to say, I love it. Remember, Not This Time is by Cartier Horse of the Year of 2000, Giants Causeway. Mom, explicable by the versatile sire line that Pioneer of the Nile brings to the table. Mom is also a half-sister to multiple graded stakes winner Inexplicable, who set a new course record winning the Canadian Turf Handicap. Granny, stakes place daughter of Nureyev, who, some forget, was a half-brother to the dam of another son of Northern Dancer, Sadler's Wells. And just to put an exclamation point on the importance of this female line, it's responsible for producing Lady Angela, the dam of Nirktik, the sire of Northern Dancer. So all this considered, at 10-1 on the morning line, despite the inside draw, I'm willing to see if the 1 proves as excellent as the name and pedigree suggest.
And the real reason you guys are here are Kentucky Derby picks. And Ren, you went chalk in the Oaks. Are you going to do the same thing here?
Pass me some water, honey, because I'm going chalky again. I've got to do it. I represent Breeders' Cup. Future Stars Friday. It's all about projecting the horses that are going to be starring in their 3-year-old season. I know we've only had 2 horses to go and take the juvenile Kentucky Derby double, Street Sense, Nyquist. Both of them, by the way, at Jonabell Farm, home of the Darley Stallions, and Essential Quality of the Dolphin, homebred. I mean, he's done nothing wrong, undefeated. I think this was a horse who really loves his job. He doesn't look like he gets tired, and he's got a tremendous pedigree. I'm all about that. Tap It, out of a half-sister to Folklore. Folklore, the Grand Dam of Triple Crown champion in Japan, Contrail. Love it, love it, love it. I am, however, going to play Hot Rod Charlie in the 2nd spot because I think this is a horse with tremendous upside as well.
Okay, so look, Ren, Essential Quality is the morning line favorite. He's done nothing wrong. He makes his own trip. There is so much to like. I get it. But right to his outside, is there not a colt that might be even better than he was last time? I think many of these 3-year-olds in the Kentucky Derby, guys, we know what they are. We know what they run. We know what kind of numbers they have. Essential Quality has kind of plateaued to me. Rock Your World is one of the few in this race that there is upside. We don't know how good he is. I know how good he was in the Santa Anita Derby, and that number is as good, if not better, than anything Essential Quality's done. Makes his own trip as well. Rosario in the saddle, top class connections on the West Coast. Rock Your World for me, guys. On or near the lead, draws away in the lane.
Well, you mentioned Trip, Aaron, and I think my pick, Mandaloon, has had a Kentucky Derby like Trip the last several times that he's reached the track. First turn 4 wide. Last 3 Trackman comments all say that, and if you watch the video, it's the truth. Last time out in the Louisiana Derby, Florent Geroux just knew it wasn't the day, just pulled back. The horse did not capitulate further, as the Trackman comments said. Basically, he pulled the horse up, but you look back at the Risen Star, that was an exceptional performance, and hand ride to the finish, and I think Mandaloon will be in the finish late for the Kentucky Derby, the 143rd running.
JD, that was a big run with first-time Bleakers 2 starts back for Mandaloon. That was a head-scratcher of an effort last time out, and if you can't go 4 wide and contend better than that in that field, what are you going to do with 20 horses signed on? I got question marks for him, but you're going to get your price.
Yeah, he's going to be inside for the first time in the career, which is either going to be a good thing or a bad thing. And I don't know which, but you look at the outside draws, that win in the Risen Star was 10 of 11 on the outside. I really think drawing inside with those many competitors behind, I think we're going to see a different Trip, and Florent Geroux is going to take the horse inside, because I also think this horse is faster than a lot of the horses that are inside of it as well.
Red, is your daily double from the Oaks to the Derby going to pay $7?
Yeah, something like that, exactly. But you know what? It's okay, because I'll play the exotics within the race. Like I said, I like Hot Rod Charlie underneath. This is a horse, by the way, who's shown tremendous guts. I think that Robert B. Lewis was a lot better than it would, otherwise appeared. He had a bad start from the gate, a really bad start from the gate. And when he got sandwiched in the stretch, that horse never backed out of it. And that is something that's so impressive to see a horse do, especially now when he's going to go up against 19 other horses. One of the most important sires in the modern thoroughbred is undoubtedly Northern Dancer. In fact, he is so prolific that I think people often forget that he was himself an incredibly talented racehorse. Northern Dancer won 14 of 18 starts with 2 seconds, 2 thirds for his breeder owner, E.P. Taylor, and trainer Horatio El Gran Señor Luro. Following a season that earned him the title of Canadian Champion 2-year-old, having won the 1963 Summer, Coronation Futurity, and Remsen, he continued to wow at 3. Winning the Flamingo, the Florida Derby, and the Bluegrass. Come the Kentucky Derby, the buzz was there, even if the favoritism wasn't, and he proved any doubters wrong, holding off the favored Hill Rise in a thriller under the spires, seizing victory in 2 minutes flat, a record that held sway until the immortal Secretariat came along in 1973. Northern Dancer went on to take the Preakness by 2 1/4 lengths, putting him in position for a Triple Crown, but though he ran his heart out, he had to settle for 3rd in the Belmont. Northern Dancer on June 25th made history that has yet to repeat. He became the first and only Kentucky Derby champ to also win the Queen's Plate, and it was a pomp and circumstance 7.5 length coronation. He earned champion titles stateside and across the northern border, was inducted into Canada's Sports Hall of Fame in 1965, the Canadian Horse and United States Racing Halls of Fame in 1976, yet it is Northern Dancer's impact as a sire that made him legend. One that resonates still today. It would take way too long to go over the dynasty created through sons and daughters, but consider this. Every horse but 3 going into that Kentucky Derby gate sport at least one, if not multiple lines of Northern Dancer within 5 generations of their pedigree. The 3 that don't, well, they're still ancestors, though further removed. Some of these boys are direct sire line to Northern Dancer, as was last year's Derby and Breeders' Cup Classic champion, Authentic. Consider all that, and now wonder this. There were no takers to meet the reserve when E.P. Taylor tried to sell Northern Dancer as a yearling. And when he went into training, it was even suggested the colt be gelded. Taylor refused, and it isn't hyperbole to say that may have been one of the most important decisions ever made in horse racing.
Daymaker time. That's what I've done for a long time, and that's what I'm going to do on the show, guys. My Daymaker, big price. I'm price shopping right now. And in race number 10 on Saturday, the cleverly named Churchill Downs. Yeah, it's run at Churchill Downs, and it's called the Churchill Downs. Let's go in race number 10 on Saturday with the 10 Bango. Now, there is not much speed signed on for this 7 furlong sprint. It's an elongated sprint, so distance may be a question with Bango, but not the fact that he loves Churchill Downs. Look at his local record: 6 starts, 4 wins, a second, a third, never out of the top 3. And he's got speed to use in here, and I thought that last race was a perfect tightener for him. As we go back to last fall, now remember, this last start at Churchill Downs, the last time we saw him run on the main track there was in the fall of his 3-year-old campaign. So this was a race where he's 21 and change, 44 and change, took pressure every step of the way, and simply draws off as much the best, just kept going down the stretch. I think he can clear this race. And I don't think he has to go as fast as he did last time he was at Churchill Downs. This is his course. This is his race flow, and he's a giant price on the morning line. 20-1, BANGO, and Bango was his name-o, and I think the tilt board's going to explode in the Churchill Downs. Upset in the making. My Daymaker for Saturday at Churchill on the undercard before the Derby, Bango, the 10 in race number 10.
For this week's long shot look, we head to race number 2 on Saturday, maiden fillies and mares going a mile on the turf course, and we're going to talk about the number 11 Anthropology. Anthropology has made 2 starts so far in the career, separated by a year. The first one we're going to show here is at Turfway Park, March 14th, 2020. The 8-horse in about 6th place right now, going to come up the rail, Split Foes. This was a 6 furlong sprint, and make a good run at the finish at the 3 Don't Mind Me. Going to be a very tight finish. But after this race, it's going to be about 365 days before we saw Anthropology back to the track. And it was back to Turfway Park, as you see, switching to the outside here. Going to make a strong run for second and almost broke the maiden on debut. So 365 days later, new track surface at Turfway, still going that same 6 furlong distance now in the 7 saddlecloth, and will be much closer to the pace in this effort. Just seemed to lose a little bit of steam, probably a condition issue here, but has run 2 sprints, and excited to see this horse on turf and excited to see this horse route. This horse is by Caraconti out of the Smart Strike mare Sassy Faction, which means she is a half-sister to multiple graded stakes winner Cambodia. And if you followed West Coast Racing, you're very familiar with that mare who made a living on the West Coast turf courses, winning route races and big graded stakes affairs. So you see here, Anthropology, the 7 saddlecloth, is going to get third in this race, but doesn't have a lot of steam coming down the stretch. I expect more at the mile distance for this 30-1 long shot.
And that will do it for the first episode of More Ground to Cover. But quickly to recap what we like in the Oaks and the Derby, I'm on Pauline's Pearl, the 120-1 morning line in the Oaks, and Mandaloon, 15-1 morning line, wearing the 7 saddlecloth in the Kentucky Derby. Ren?
I'm going to be drinking a lot of water along with my Prosecco or champagne or whatever alcohol happens to be nearby, because I'm eating chalk in both the Oaks and the Derby. It's Malapat, and it's essential quality for me, the 10 and the 14.
I would say that Ren, drinks are on you if you sweep the Oaks and Derby, but I'm not sure you can afford a drink just for yourself.
$2 Chuck.
For me, guys, crazy beautiful 15-1 in the Oaks. And you can't hit a home run unless you swing for the fences. I think Rock Your World has upside, and that's rare in the Kentucky Derby.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at MoreGroundTV. Go to moregroundtv.com to watch this whole show if you're catching a portion of it on social media, and we'll see you next week.